hey friends, it is Angela here with you today as we head into some joyful noise and Sunday school. I'm so happy to be here with you, and today our story is going to be from the Gospel of Matthew. Remember, we have 4 Gospels: Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. And in a little bit, you're going to hear about some sheep, some goats, and a shepherd. And 3 questions I want to give you before we head into that story, just for you to think about, is going to be, number 1, how do we know when someone needs our help? Like, how do you know when, that person's in need? Number 2, how can we show others that we care for them? And how can we help those in need? And then number 3, how can we live a life that shows Jesus up above, that we care for him? And real quick before we head into our story, I want to enter it with a prayer for today. Just you can repeat after me. Connect us, loving God, so we can help your people. Use our hands to do your work. Amen. And that's our prayer. And we are going to head into our story now. If you want to look it up into your big Bible, it's going to be in Matthew chapter 25, verses 31 to 46. We are going to read it real quick from our Spark Story Bible, Spark House Spark Story Bible. And taking a quick look here, it's called Sheep and Goats. And you can see a picture here where there's a shepherd. He has a flock of sheep, and they all look really happy, like they care for one another. And at the top of the hill, we have some goats who are bucking heads. They're not getting along too well. You know, maybe someone wants more grass than the other or something. They're not getting along. Okay, our story for today, sheep and goats. Jesus told his disciples they were like sheep when they cared for each other, and Jesus was their shepherd. They would be like goats if they didn't listen and didn't care. He said, "Do you remember when you fed the woman who was hungry?" "Yes," they replied. "Do you remember when you visited the old man in prison?" he asked. "Oh, yes, and he was very lonely," they answered. Do you remember when you gave clothing to the children who didn't have anything to wear?" Jesus asked. "Yes, they were very cold," they answered. "Every time you care for someone, it is like you are caring for me too," Jesus explained. "God will welcome you into the kingdom of heaven." The disciples wanted to be like sheep. They knew they would be welcome in heaven. And that is our story again for today, our picture. And so some quick follow-up questions would be, do you guys remember who the shepherd, do you guys remember who was the shepherd for the disciples? 3, 2, 1, yeah, it was Jesus. And then, do you guys remember, did the disciples want to be like the sheep or the goats? Yeah, they wanted to be like the sheep, because that's who is welcomed into the kingdom of heaven. And when we're like sheep, that shows it's a representation of how we care for others. So all throughout our story today, a bunch of it was showing how when we care for others, we're also caring for Jesus. And Jesus is there when we care for others. Now, something I want to share with you right before we head into our craft, and it's a fun craft today, is a verse from the Big Bible. And it's a ending verse from our story. It's from Matthew chapter 25, verse 45. And he said, and this is Jesus talking to the people, and he says, "Truly I tell you, just as you did not do it to one of the rest of these, you did not do it to me. Truly I tell you, just as you did not do it to one of the least of these, you did not do it to me. And that's so important, because just as we care for others and are also caring for Jesus, it shows us that when we aren't caring for others, it shows we probably don't care for Jesus either. And that's how Jesus is going to end up saying, yes, this is one of my sheep, because he's our shepherd. When he sees us caring for others and caring for him, he's going to know, yes, this is one of my sheep. But when we aren't living a life that shows that we truly love him and others, it's going to say, nope, that's one of the goats. into the craft, we'll be making some elbow macaroni noodles. What you can do is, I'll show you how to make them in the next clip, but as you're making these, you can show others that you care for them by sharing maybe some of these with someone after you make them, or real simply that as you make these, just help each other as you make them, and remind each other of just how much you care as we go ahead and we just make this fun little craft for today. And side note, as you're making these, the bigger the noodles that you use as beads, the easier it is to thread onto the string. Hey friends, so we're gonna head straight into our craft, which today is making some elbow macaroni bracelets and necklaces. You can share them with your friends and your family just to show them you love them, and they're just a lot of fun to make. So what you're gonna need are some elbow macaroni noodles, some rubbing alcohol. When you're using this, make sure you have an adult with you. Michaela, that's not the camera view. Okay, thank you. And you're gonna need some food coloring and some string, and then just some other regular supplies such as a plastic spoon might be nice, something to mix your stuff in, and some napkins. I have a cutting board right here so that the dye doesn't seep through with the rubbing alcohol to our counter. First thing you want to do is take about a tablespoon of rubbing alcohol. Make sure you have your adult here with you for this. Pour it into your container. Do about 2 to 3 drops, mixing it into that. I just stirred it up here a little bit. And to dye our beads, what we want to do is I poured some elbow macaroni noodles into here. I pour in the rubbing alcohol, and what you want to do here, I put a few too many beads in here for the amount of rubbing alcohol that I mixed together, but basically what you want to do is make sure it coats your noodles or beads evenly, and then once you're all done, pour it out onto whatever surface you have laid them out, or you can scoop them if you made a little too much dye. Let them dry, and then once you're all done, prepare your string after your noodles are all dried to cut it to whatever length necessary for your necklace or bracelet, and then just bead those noodles right on and tie it, and there you have your bracelets and necklaces. Hey guys, so I'm standing by the door to leave us with a prayer as you go throughout your day and as I go throughout mine. Please fold your hands and repeat after me. Connect us, loving God, so we can help your people. Use our hands to do your work. Amen. See you guys in the next one.